Guys, I have a confession to make. I've relapsed. I know. What can I say? I've relapsed. And I've started watching One Piece again. All right, I said it. I said it. It's so good. I love One Piece. So I started watching One Piece like about a year ago, probably, and I got up like 100 episodes in, I'd say, and then I just completely stopped because I got super bored watching it. And then about like a week ago, I got this really shitty cold that I have right now. And I was like, you know what? Let me give it another shot. Because for those of you that know, I was in Alabaster and that arc takes a super long time to get through. Like it's a lot of episodes. And I just got bored of it and I stopped watching. So I picked it back up again. And let me tell you, I am hooked. I got through Alabasta. We're back on track again. We're cruising. I think I'm on episode like 148. And it's just so good. Like the character development, everything about it is just amazing. And I am an anime noob. So I really haven't watched a lot of anime before. I think I've watched Attack on Titan, One Piece, and I just watched Dandadan too. I just love it. I love it. Like everything about it is so good. For those of you that haven't watched One Piece before, it's basically about Monkey D. Luffy, who his dream is to become king of the pirates, and the whole premise of the show is about finding the One Piece, which is like the ultimate treasure in the show. And they still haven't figured out what that is yet. And there's over like 1,100 episodes, and it's just so good, man. Like if you haven't watched it, I highly recommend it. I was telling my friend that like, yeah, man, like I've been watching One Piece again. Like I love it. He's like, he's been watching it too. And he's like, "Oh, do you watch it like dubbed?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Oh, well, you're supposed to watch it in the Japanese version with the English subtitles." And I was like, "Wait, I've been watching it in English this entire time." He's like, "Bro, you're such a noob. What are you doing?" So I'd like to know if any of you do watch anime, do you watch it in English or do you watch it in Japanese with the English subtitles? Because apparently I'm a noob for that, and I want to know if I'm the only one. What blows my mind is that like they're able to produce so many episodes, and every episode is still good. Like imagine having to make 1,100 episodes and yet you make every single episode amazing. Like that's pure like love and dedication in my opinion, which I think is really amazing. And my favorite character is Zoro or Luffy, one or the other, but Zoro's awesome. I want to get like his sword set. You can get them online. One of my coworkers was telling me, and they literally like they're dull, but you can get them sharpened and they're actually like swords, which you would hope they would be, right? Because you're buying a sword set and you don't want to get a fake sword, but that would be so cool if I could have that. Like, what? Imagine, dude, I just walk around with the sword in my mouth and two in my hand, three sword combo, ready to go. Like, it's awesome. Yeah, I really like how the character development has evolved throughout the show. Like, every time they introduce a new character, they kind of give you the backstory on like what happened to them and how they got to where they are now, and then like they also build on it over time. And I think it's really cool that you can have an understanding of all the different characters and what role they play on the crew. It's really hard to talk about this without giving any spoilers away because like I don't want to ruin the experience if you've never watched it before, but it's just a great show, and I'm honestly addicted. Like every time I get home from work, I literally just sit here and watch One Piece. This is what my life has come to. And honestly, I'm okay with it. And I was watching Charlie talk about it, and apparently they have a One Piece card game as well. And I'm huge into Magic the Gathering. I haven't played it in a while, but I find it like so much fun just to like sit down with your friends, play the game, and like just vibe, you know? And they have a One Piece card game, which I want to check out. I think it would be kind of cool to see how it works compared to like Magic. But right now I'm on the episode where they're on the island where all the tax people are. And I can never remember names, man. I'm sorry. Well, it's probably a good thing actually, but like, so they get to the island, and then they're like, "Oh, you got to pay a tax to park here or dock your ship here." And then Luffy's like, "Dude!" And he just runs right through them, and then they end up oh, it's the Rainbow Mist arc. That's what it is. So yeah, there's like this like Rainbow Mist, and pretty much what happens is when you go inside the Rainbow Mist, it's like a different dimension and it just loops constantly. So like they go inside to because the guy they originally meet is like a scientist who has been studying the Rainbow Mist for like his whole life, and the entire like island is supporting him and paying taxes in order for him to study this. So everyone else is paying a bunch of like money in order for this one guy to research stuff and like build this like giant tower. So Luffy and his crew, well, besides like two of them, they end up meeting these kids in there who like try to attack them at first because it's like their domain, and then they end up becoming friends because like they realize it's the only way they're going to get out, and they all kind of unite over the fact that like they're going to get out of there together. And it has like interstellar vibes in a way because they figure out that you can literally just get out by like having a string. So like Nami like rows a little boat into the Rainbow Mist with a rope, and like Chopper's holding it, and she goes in and she's like, guys, and they're like, oh, now you're stuck too. And she's like, no, like I got a rope, it's fine, like it's all good, like you're good. And then they end up having a prisoner on the boat that they're in, and the kid lets him out because he feels bad that they're gonna leave him behind because they figured out how to get out of there. And then he ends up leaving with all like they have like treasure. There's a bunch of treasure in there because no one's ever escaped it before. And so apparently the kids have been in there for like 50 years, which is a long time, and you don't age when you're in the Rainbow Mist, which is pretty interesting. The guy ends up taking the boat back out and leaving them behind, and then like the mayor of the town is like a complete jerk. He like all he cares about is money, and like he just wants all the treasure that's in the Rainbow Mist. So that's why they like allow them to go back in again. Yeah, so they have a giant tower that goes into the Rainbow Mist. They like knock it down, and then inside of it is like a giant like conveyor belt, and they all go in there. So now they can escape because like they have a way to get out because it's connected to the real world. And then the mayor gets super angry because Luffy like defies him and shows him that he's not as strong as he actually thinks he is. And he's like, "No one will disrespect me and live to see it." So he literally abandons his entire crew and all the like and everybody else in there, blows up the entire tower and runs out, and then leaves everyone else behind with no way of escaping. So then all of like the military that he had and like Luffy and his crew and the kids all like unite together to like get out, and they figure out that like the kid, the leader, I can't remember his name, starts with an R, but he's like, I'm gonna go blow up our ship that we've been living on, then we can like get you out of here because the explosion will boost you over to the portal. And it was like closing in real time. The way they knew it was a portal is because the sun was setting outside and you could see it, but the explosion caused everything to warp and like get all messed up. So if they didn't get out in time, then they would have been like dead because the time warp and like space and time is coming together or whatever. So they end up blowing up the ship, and then they get the ship, like Luffy's ship gets flown out, and then the portal changed from being on the ocean to like over a mountain. Before this happens, like the mayor goes out, and Sanji is a badass. He can kick anyone's ass. Nami can't fight. Chopper can fight, but he's like a reindeer, and he transforms into this big like jack guy. So the mayor goes over there, and then Sanji's like, "Don't tell me that you just left everyone back there." And he's like, and then they just completely kick his ass, and it's great. So yeah, and then Luffy's ship comes out from out of the sky down like a mountain, and they end up back on the water again so they can leave. And then the Rainbow Mist is like a different dimension, so it warps space and time because when they get shot out, they go back into present time because they entered in present time. But the kids who are in there, who are called the Pumpkin Pirates, went in there 50 years ago. So they've been in there for 50 years and they haven't aged a bit. So when they get shot out, they go back 50 years. So they're still children when they come back out. So what they end up doing is they end up joining the Marines. And this is so cool how they did this. So like they join the Marines and then 50 years goes by and right as Luffy and like everybody comes out of the rainbow mist, they have like the mayor tied up and everything because they kicked his ass, obviously. And the Marines show up, so they all think they're screwed because their ship is completely like wrecked from what just happened, like falling out of the sky and coming back into the ocean. The sail's broken and their little the goat thing is broken. And then the Marines pull up and they're like, "You guys are under arrest. I can't like let you go." Like the mayor walks up to them and you know him, he only wants treasure. That's all he cares about. And then the Marines are like, "Oh, you're under arrest for like stealing treasure." And he gets all super mad. He tries to hit him with an axe and then like what's his name signature move is to like flick, which is the leader of the pumpkin pirates, like the kid. He flicks them, and then they realize that it's the pumpkin pirates 50 years later, but they're all grown up, and they just happen to show up at the perfect time for them to be able to come out, arrest the mayor. So he gets arrested by those pirates as Marines. He's like, I can't let the straw hats go. He's like, but wait, I have to take him back first, and then come back, and then I can't call reinforcements because we're so far away. And then he's like, no! And then he just runs off, gets on the ship and leaves, and like knowing that they're gonna help them because Luffy helped him. And then he just leaves and lets them all go. And then they end up leaving the island. It's super cool, man. Like I love One Piece. It's so good. So good. Oh my gosh, dude. I'm geeking out right now, brother. You can see it. Like it's so good.